Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of SpurrLive Leadership Conversation. My name is Wendell Lawrence, and I'm the CEO of SpurRopen.com. SpurRopen.com is a platform that facilitates online payments for event organizers, businesses, churches, just about anyone who needs to move payments online. That's what we do, and that's how we help you. Week after week, we have a conversation with an influencer, someone who is in the position of leadership, and we have insightful conversations about how they are managing in this time of COVID. How are they pivoting and how they're doing life. So thank you to those who are always joining us to check out what's happening and to check out the conversations. And thank you to those pastors and leaders who have shared with me that this is a blessing to them. This is a space where persons are able to share ideas about how they are doing ministry, how they are being on the cutting edge, and so forth. So, as we start, I want to invite you to just share the broadcast with a friend, and let's get going. This evening, we're going to be having an amazing gentleman, the Bishop, Bishop Courtney McClean. So I want to just jump straight in. This episode is going to be a short one. We've managed to secure him for a short time. So we want to just jump in right away and have this conversation. Bishop, are you there?
I am here.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Awesome, sir. Great to see you, sir. Great to see you. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Awesome. Awesome. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing great. Busy as usual. A lot of things juggling, but I am actually doing great. Doing great. I'm thankful. Thanks for the
Awesome.
invite.
Awesome.
Thanks for the invite.
Yes. Yes. I must confess that it's a real privilege of mine to be having this conversation with you. I think it's the first I'd be having a kind of chat with you in this format. We're just gonna chat a little and just share part of the vision of this conversation and this whole series is it's targeted at inspiring other leaders. So our target audience is leaders.
Yes.
And specifically church leaders, leaders who are leading a religious organization, and just having a conversation around what that is looking like now. Because of what's happening with COVID, because of the different regulations, the different changes that the
Yes.
country, that the world is going through, I believe that the kingdom of God and the way how we do church has evolved. The way how we do church, the way how we represent the kingdom here has kind of evolved, and the needs of persons have kind of evolved. And some of the leaders that I've spoken to, even before the series has started, have expressed challenge. Like when the Prime Minister made the announcement, 20 persons, and then it went down to 10 persons. Because of the kind of services that we offer, I've had need to be talking to pastors for different occasions. And so I'm hearing the conversations, I'm hearing some of the concerns. Some of them were struggling, some of them had innovative ideas. So it was actually out of one of the conversations that I said to the pastor, would you mind going on camera and sharing some of the things that you are doing? And he said, sure. And so that's how the series started. So it's really a series for us to hear what innovative ways, how are you as a leader pivoting? How are you as a leader changing the way you're operating? And from time to time, I may ask you to just encourage other pastors here on the program, other leaders who might be struggling. If there are areas that you need help with, is a platform for you to say, hey, this is an area that we're still working on. We're trying to get help. We're trying to figure out here, and so forth. So that's what this is. So I just want to kick off, Bishop, by just asking you, how was your day? What kind of things did you do today?
Well, today started my day at about 3:45. Started
AM.
with prayer. AM. Yeah. Of course, I started with prayer, my quiet time, and then I'm doing some studies. So I went straight into studying after. I'm doing some exams, trying to do a some counseling and psychology kind of thing. So I'm working on that.
Right.
And then after that, I had to take my children to some extra class that they're doing and preparing them for September. I don't want them to just sit and get rusty during the summer break. And then one of my daughters is doing some summer work, so I took her there. Got back home, was a little tired, so I got some rest. And then I had to get up now and prepare to do a presentation, because I do motivational speaking, and I work with staff at some companies. So I had that presentation today. Then pick up my daughter after doing that. And then we do Daddy and Deborah every Wednesday. She's 15, and we have our own show that we do on Instagram every Wednesday. So we did that. And then I do mentorship. So I'm actually in and around mentorship coaching sessions right now. I just finished several mentorship sessions online on Zoom before coming on. And then I have some other stuff to do after. So that's amazing. That's my day. That's my day so far.
And that is a general picture of your typical day.
Yeah. And if it's not that, it's going to be a baptism of studies.
Yes, because you're doing a doctorate and a master's in one.
Yeah. It's work. Believe me, it's work.
I can just imagine. So let me ask you, Bishop. So before the COVID pandemic and before the impacts were obvious on Jamaica, what were your mentorship sessions like? Were they in-person sessions? How has that evolved and changed?
Well, I used to do mostly face-to-face. I would do some online, but the online persons would be more those who are overseas. So what we have done because we had the facility, we had the platform, so we just use it. A matter of fact, I'm doing more Zoom mentorship now more than before. A matter of fact, my business has grown during COVID in terms of what I offer. I've actually also reduced the cost so that more persons can afford the mentorship, because if there's ever a time that is needed, it's now. People don't understand something. Let me tell you what I believe affects us. We stop growing. And anytime you stop growing, you stop going. Yeah. So in order for you to go, you must grow. You actually don't go after your goals, you grow after your goals. Success is not something that you go after. It is something that you attract by the person you become. So if you stop growing, then you stop attracting success. Whatever you pursue, generally it eludes you, but you attract what you become. And I believe that's a mistake that we make sometimes. And I'm not trying to bash anybody, but that's a mistake that we make as pastors. We stop climbing, we stop growing. Whatever it is that we're doing, if you are constantly growing, nobody can stop you from going, because that's where it's at, to grow. Yeah.
Wow, too early. Wow, that's amazing. It's similar to the concept if be plus do equal have.
Yeah, same. It's the same concept. So you flow, you do out of your being. But the being comes before the doing. He says you will be witnesses, not do witnessing. Yeah, so it's more constantly working on the becoming. And if you're constantly growing, you're going to be a little bit one step ahead if you're constantly growing. So for example, social media and all of that, we were doing that, and we invested heavily into the equipment that we needed before COVID, long before. So when the pandemic hit, we weren't reacting. We were actually ready. And a matter of
Right.
fact, during COVID, we increased or whatever we were doing in terms of social media, in terms of reaching out to people, we increased it. We start going on every single day because it
Mm.
was more necessary at that time, and we had the structure and the facility for it.
That's yeah. That's amazing. So therefore you were really just adjusting at the time when the effects of COVID hit. You were really just adjusting what you were already doing. You're really
Right.
just scaling. You're really just scaling infrastructures you already had in place.
Yes. Yeah, because the infrastructure was there, so it was no just more a matter of focusing more and being more intentional. However, we must be mindful that not everybody is tech savvy. Not everybody do Zoom, Facebook.
That was going to be my next
IT.
question because I wanted to find out from you because there are persons who a part of their Christian experience is the touch and the feel and the hug and the how you're doing and the laying on of hands and the physical contact is a part of the real experience in their minds based on how they experience Christianity. It is something real, as a real part of the experience. How do you in your church address that need?
All right. So for our church now, so you have myself and my wife, who we are founders of the ministry, and then we have what you call group ministers, because we have an attendance of we had an attendance of over 1,000 persons every Sunday. So in
How many
order for you to
services?
really meet, 3, and on a last Sunday we would have 4. So in order for you to meet the needs of those persons and give that close touch, we group the church. So we had group ministers. So we have a minister over 200 persons, and that minister also has sub leaders. And then you have another minister, might be over 100 persons. And so during COVID, it would have been easy for that minister, along with his 10 leaders, who is over 100 persons, to reach them and to still have that close touch. So like I said, it's just a matter of how we are growing, how we are organizing ourselves, and that helps us to basically now touch. There's still a challenge though, like even now, because I love laying hands, I love praying for people, and my wife is on me saying, you can't do that. And I'm struggling in that area.
Yeah,
I'm struggling in that area. So I try to pray for people without touching them.
yeah.
I try, you know, but for some people, it is actually a struggle in that area. Yeah.
Okay, all right. How do you handle some of the so when they announced, all right, describe for me the experience that went on in your mind and what that translated into your leadership meetings and that translated in your execution plan the first Sunday when the announcements were made.
All right. So you're talking about the first Sunday when we weren't able to meet.
That's correct, right?
All right, great. All right, so what went on in my mind is that, all right, number one, we need to make contact with the people. So I would have done a WhatsApp video, and it would have been easy for my leaders, my ministers, to circulate that and filter that down. I would have done a YouTube and a Facebook, more so Facebook video. I also have a Facebook membership group. Facebook, that's just for the members. So if we want
Closed
to have
group.
that closed group, and we also have the Zoom. So I use all the platforms and I reached out to them. just encouraging them, practice the physical distancing, sanitize, do everything, but at the same time, keep your mind strong, stay focused, stay in faith, just encourage them. And then after that, we recognize, like the second, third week, after a while, we recognized that the need was getting great to start feeding persons, because some persons weren't able, like the nail technician and the barber and those persons weren't able to go out and earn. So we immediately started a feeding program where we would buy food from different companies, and we start organizing packages just to make sure that the people are being sustained on a weekly basis. And we did that during that season. I was kind of surprised at the amount that we had to do. I think we actually ended up doing about 900 boxes of groceries during that season. Yeah. And what I was surprised about. Go ahead.
Finish. No, I was gonna ask you, describe for me in a nutshell, how does an operation like that work? How do you assess the need, the logistics involved in preparing the packages and distribution?
All right. So number one, again, we have the group ministers and we have the leaders who work with them. So we would send a message out, filter it right down through the body. If you have needs, let us know, and they filter it up. And once they filter it up, then we would ascertain what do we need, how much the quantity, and the variety in terms of what is needed. Then now, we have managers in the church that works with different companies, whether it be Grace or Lasco. We make a call, send them the order, and they send us an invoice. We wire the money, they deliver. Then now you have persons who volunteer. So we have a multi-purpose hall that would be filled with bags of rice and flour and sugar and corned beef, and a freezer filled with chicken and different stuff. And then now the guys come and they package it out. Volunteers package it out, and then the people based on a schedule, they would come and they would collect. And we're also able to reach out to the community because we recognize the need. The need was real, man. It was a real
yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. So something like that is a financial strain. I shouldn't say financial strain, but is a financial challenge. Do you find that with the COVID experience that persons are still supporting the ministry financially? How do you encourage persons to still support, to still give and worship in that way?
Well, I'm not sure if your platform is available for the churches who don't have a way, of how to do that. But you use the platforms that's available, and you partner with people. Half a bread is better than no bread. So rather than you not getting anything, it would be best if you are able to say, all right, Wendell, can you help me out here during this season, as I'm not able to flow as I would normally. So we use whatever platforms were available, and people would still donate online. But then it was very low during that season. However, we believe that we needed to invest. We believe that we needed to invest in the people and just don't even watch the money. Just make sure the people are okay. And that is seed. And eventually things will turn as long as everybody's being sustained. So we did a lot of that, and God has been good to us.
Awesome. Where do you believe how should I ask this question? The church, so it is my opinion that the church has evolved. In the sense that the analogy I'll use is there's a time when the church was persecuted, the early church was persecuted, and as a result of the persecution, the membership spread, and they relocated, and persons started living different places, and Now that I'm living here, I tell the people I live with here about, my experience as a Christian. And so the message began to spread. So it's arguable that the persecution of the church was a good vehicle for the spreading of the gospel,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So in that sense, the church went through an evolution. I believe that this whole experience is causing the church again to evolve. We're using technology. We're having more service, more engagement. More persons are able to hear. More families are able to huddle around services, etc. How would you describe this new era in your own words? How would you describe what's happening with the church?
Opportunity.
Mm.
What I have done during COVID, I've had several online training sessions with my church, and it's geared towards evangelism and what do they have that God can use. So right now, you'll have many of my members who have their own Facebook page, own YouTube channel. They might not be pulling the same amount of people that I am pulling, but in their own way, they are making an impact. So I'll go on one of the pages and I'll see, 30 persons, 50 that's big. 30,
Yes.
you are influencing 30 persons. That's big. So
Yes.
you have several persons now from my church who are, it's not that they branch off, but they have reached a place where recognizing that, hey, the time is now. I have an opportunity because people are hopeless, people are discouraged. My pastor is not going to reach everybody. Everybody don't know my pastor, but I have my world. I
Yes.
have a
I have my circle of
responsibility to
influence.
minister. Yes, my circle of influence. And so we have a lot of that's taking place right now. And I am very, very encouraged by that. And I think what God has been prompting us to do is to shift ministry from the whole matter of a theater where we go to watch the pastor perform to everybody being on the battlefield like an army, and everybody is playing their role. And he has been prompting that. But sometimes it's the persecution and stuff like that helps with that, because it was the same situation with the early church. But I'm very, very excited about just the amount of individual members they are creating an impact, and it's amazing.
What are some of the things that challenge you as a leader? And you can probably contextualize your answer in the perspective of how the COVID experience has increased those challenges.
All right. For me, I believe everything rises and falls on leadership. That's a John Maxwell philosophy. And I believe it's biblical. Bible says, be not many leaders, because those who are leaders will be judged with a greater judgment. So for me, my burden is one that I realize it's important that I constantly grow. It's important that I be the message and not say the message. And that comes with a level of weight. So, for example, my integrity is a gift to God. I have to walk in integrity. I believe too many ministers take the whole matter of holiness and integrity light, and enough boundaries are not in place, and it lends itself to moral failure. So those things I am constantly mindful of. I'm also mindful of people suffering, and especially I have a burden for persons who are sick. and not well, because my understanding of the scripture is that God still wants to flow through us to minister to those who are burdened. And so I can take you into a real situation wherein I lost a member. And I don't know how other pastors deal with it. I mean, I guess some pastors just say it's appointed unto man wants to die. And truth is that it's appointed unto man wants to die. But is every death a timely death? Do you have such a thing as an untimely death? Are we where we're supposed to be spiritually so that God can flow through us and do what he wants to do in the earth? Those are some of the burdens that I carry. So when that member died, and I think that was about February or March, I was burdened by that, and I went into prayer. I said, God, I'm really upset. Really, really upset. What was this? And I mean, he said some stuff to me, and put it this way, a lot has come out of that, because out of that, we went on a 21-day fast, and then another 21-day fast, and we saw several persons being delivered and tangibly healing. A lady come forward testifying of being healed of HIV, which is
nice.
powerful. So your pain, if you can get your pain to propel you towards purpose instead of discouraging you, your pain should propel you. And so that is what has been happening to me. Ministry is wonderful, but ministry is also painful. But what I've done is to allow the pain to produce passion for purpose.
Yes. I saw a video from you giving encouragement to our country leader, to our prime minister.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not sure if there are multiples of them, but hopefully you know the one I'm talking about.
Well, I did 2 of them. Was it the one where I was preaching, or the one where I was just sitting down and talking?
No, the one where you're sitting down and talking. That's the one I saw.
Okay.
So here's the question, or here is the I don't know if we call it a question, but so here's what I'm asking you to do. In the context of that, and you may also make reference to it in your response. We're almost out of time, because I know we had obliged us for half an hour. But in the context of that video, and I say you may contextualize your response and draw from that video. But what is our duty as Christian leaders to the country as it relates to us being watchful over our country leaders, the decisions they're making, holding them accountable, our instructions to our fellow countrymen in terms of our responsibility to our leaders of our country? What is our responsibility as Christian leaders in that role?
Well, we have an awesome responsibility. It has been known throughout the ages that the church functions basically as the moral fiber of the society, and it's generally like the conscience of the society. And so we must hold our leaders accountable, and we must look at what's happening, and we mustn't be afraid to speak to what is basically happening. And I believe that many of the churches right now have sought to work with the country, to work with the government. Many churches have opened up their buildings for school for September. So we are trying to work with the government. We are trying to practice the physical distancing. We are encouraging the sanitization of hands, and just ensuring that we do everything we can personally to keep the cases down. But I believe that to ask the churches who have air condition, and they have service in something like a warehouse where it's not properly ventilated, and to have them meet in that area without AC, and if they use AC, they are breaking the law. That's not healthy. To have them spaced out and still not able, and still have the mask on in a hot area is hazardous to our health. And I believe more thought need to go into that in terms of to see if the right thing is really being done. There's much that I could say in regards to the country, in regards to government. I believe that we have to be careful that Jamaica is not sold out, and after a while we might find that we don't own anything. The Chinese own everything, or some outside country owns everything. And so that mindfulness, and I believe more leaders need to be speaking about this and not be afraid to get on, quote unquote, the wrong side of the government, because I believe a lot is happening even right now as we speak, behind the scenes, and it's just not good. Us opening up the country and reducing the testing of the cases, I believe it's going to cause the cases to spike, definitely, naturally, and shifting the attention from it with elections coming up. I want us to, I wouldn't want the decision to do that to be on the basis of the elections coming up. And I'm not saying that it is, but it can look that way, because I'm not seeing the wisdom in reducing the testing of people coming into our country when most of our flights, if I'm remembering right, is actually coming out of America, and America has so many cases. So I'm just questioning many things and asking humbly that the government of our country reconsider some of the decisions that they are making in a serious way. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, and I do agree with the fact that as leaders, as Christian leaders, that we should not divorce ourselves from the issues of the country that we live in. Because as you said, the church is seen as the moral fibers, is as that compass,
Yes.
that light, that yeah. It's not a preaching program. but Bishop, I thank you so much. I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to have this chat with us. I did say, guys, that this was going to be a short one. We heard that the guy has been up from 3:45, you said? Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in for this program. Thank you, Bishop, again, for spending time, and I wish you all the best with your ministry. I wish you all the best with your family. How long now have you been married?
1998. So this year is going to be this December is 22 years.
Nice. Congratulations when the time comes, and big ups to your wife. Your wife's name? Can you say your wife's name?
Oh, Nadine.
Nice, Nadine. Big up to Nadine, and the rest of your church family. Kimola Brownlow. I know is one of it would be a co-pastor, would it be?
No, she's pastoring. She's pastoring one of our churches.
She's pastoring the church in Florida, branch in Florida, and I've seen that. They're my friends. I love them.
Awesome.
So thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much, Bishop, and have a good night. Thank you for joining us, guys. This is gonna be the end of our broadcast. Thank you for joining us and participating. We love you. Take care.